Assalamu alaikum everyone. Myself Hafiz Abdul Aziz. Welcome to another lecture. Today I am here to deliver a lecture regarding the importance of English. Yes, today's topic is the importance of English. So in today's spoken English class, I am going to tell you how you can, there is a saying that says if why is important, then how become easy, which means if you know the importance of something, whatever we do, there is a reason behind that. So once we know the importance, that why is it important to me, why should I do this? Listening. Okay, so first of all, I am going to read it out for you, the listening and speaking part. After that, I'll give you an example and let you know the relationship between listening and speaking. Listening, what does it say? It says listening is an art, and if you are master in it, surely you are going to be a great speaker. A good listener is always a good speaker. That is the most important line of today's lecture. So as they say, in order to become a good speaker, you must be a good listener. So listen English every day, at least 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening. Okay, so hopefully you guys are getting the point. So make it your habit. Whenever you wake up, watch BBC or any news channel in order to listen to English. And when you are about to go to sleep, watch a 20-minute video of TED Talk or any kind of documentary you like. So this is how you can improve your English. Let's move on to the speaking part. Second thing, we must talk every day in English in order to achieve fluency. So many people are afraid to speak because they are shy what the other people will think if I will make mistakes. Okay, so mistakes are very common, so don't worry about mistakes. Just try to express yourself. In the beginning, everybody do mistakes. It is not opposite to success. It is a part of a success. Mistakes are a part of a success. It is not opposite to success. Okay, so that is the point. You should write it down. And always try to make new friends who are willing to improve their English. And you should have some kind of practice with them as much as possible. So, since childhood, what do we speak? For example, if I talk about the Pakistani, where did you guys learn Urdu? Nowhere. You learned Urdu from the society, from home, from you can say the place where do you live, from the people to whom you meet. You learn your language, your etiquettes, your behavior from them. You learn it from the society. So the thing is, we never ever joined any kind of institute in order to learn Urdu. So why do we need to join an institute in order to become good at English? So the must thing we should do is to start listening to Urdu, because we speak Urdu because this is what we have been listening since the day we born. So the same thing we have to do. We have to start listening to English in order to become a good English speaker. So that's all I wanted to say to you about the relationship between listening and speaking. So let's move on to the next slide to see another relationship between reading and writing. As third point says, which is reading, reading is also an art. It is not necessarily if we will read a lot, we will improve faster. Yeah, it's a myth. It's not like you should read one book, you have to complete the whole book in one night in order to improve your reading. It's not like that. or you can just read it fastly and so that you can improve. It's not like that. It's a myth. So as it says, if you read 10 pages but you cannot learn something new, it is better to read 2 pages and read carefully. So the main thing is to read it carefully and try to understand. And do not try to remember, try to understand. Once you understand them, you don't need to remember. People usually do the cramming thing. I hate this thing. So what I used to do and what I usually prefer is to understand something, and after that you can write it down in your own words. But the exception is if you are good at English. Only then you can write it down in your own words. So let's move on to the next point, which is writing. In reading part, you read 2 pages, you have to take 8 to 12 correct grammatical sentence from those 2 pages, and you have to write down in your notebook. So this is the practice you can do in order to improve your writing, and read them fluently in order to improve your reading. Try to remember whole sentence rather than individual word meaning, because if you knew complete sentence, then you can speak it very quickly. So let me give you another very general example regarding to this. Whenever you appear in any kind of exam, whenever you go for, you can say, writing an exam, what do you write over there? What do you write over there in your exam? There are so many questions and you have to write it down the answers. You answer all the questions because you have read it somewhere. If you never read it somewhere, you never learned it, then how can you write it down? So in order to, according to the saying, in order to become a good writer, you must be a good reader. That is the relationship between reading and writing. So let's move on to the last slide of this very short lecture, which was based on the importance of English. Okay, so the fifth and the last point of today's lecture is thinking. So how can we improve our thinking? What kind of practices should we do in order to improve our thinking? We can play some kind of riddles. We can just give it some kind of tough time. We can do the brainstorming. So these kind of things we can do in order to improve our thinking skills. But as this slide said, let's read. Thinking is very important part of spoken English, because whatever you think, you can speak. So make a habit to think in English. Okay, so but that is the problem that usually students make. Whenever anybody asks a question in English, what they do is, first of all, translate that question into Urdu. After that, they find the answer into Urdu. After that, they try to translate that answer into English. That is a very long process. And after that, it comes to speak that answer. So the thing is, the person who asked a question, he doesn't have that much time. So you can say it gives a very bad impression if somebody asks a question and you can say you are unable to answer that question. You are keep thinking, translating things and all. So it is a very time taken thing. So I want you to make your habit of thinking in English. Everything takes time. In the beginning, it will be difficult, but when you will practice and practice, it will be a part of your memory. And once it becomes your habit, then English will come naturally from your mouth. Okay, so over here we have a mistake. It was written over here, them. So it's a then. Okay, so that is it for today. So I would like to say you that these are the things you should put in your mind, that you have to think in English. And thank you so much for listening to us. I would like to conclude my lecture by saying, in order to improve your writing, you must be a good reader. In order to become a good speaker, you must be a good listener. Okay. So thank you so much guys for listening to us and being a part of Language Learners. If you want the detailed lectures, you can just join our next upcoming batch. Best of you luck guys, and stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.